What is up, everyone? We are live to talk to you about How I Met Your Father. The series premiered today. Really excited to talk about it, and especially with two people who I know loved this original show, How I Met Your Mother, as much as I did, and that is Toby Barkwell and the Colin Morris.
What's going on, everyone?
Legend. Wait for it.
Derry. No, how are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. I mean, obviously, we're gonna talk about the episode here in a little bit, but it was one of those things where I forgot it was coming up. We knew that the show was being made. We're excited, and then I see on Twitter the little teaser thing, January 18th. I'm like, oh
Wait,
wow,
what?
that's in a couple days.
Okay,
let's go.
so here's how it works, and we'll go full freaking just how the show works. Okay, guys. So here's what it's like in 2022. So you want to watch a show? Well, here's the thing. One just came out 4 days ago. So your Twitter ads are going to be plugged with another show. And it's called Peacemaker. And once those ads are gone on Saturday, they're immediately plugged with new ads for another show that you knew you wanted to watch. And then the How I Met Your Father ads started coming in. And then, kids, there's going to be another show. It's called Moon Knight, but that's another one.
Yes, and it was so funny because I tweeted about the show after I watched it, and I started getting all these recommendations for Hillary Duff fan pages. And I'm like, I like the show. I like her. That's great. I don't need to follow all of these Hillary Duff fan pages.
Sorry. I mean, you know why? Because I follow them, and they were like, you have a mutual friend. Call them.
I was that's not what I expected here, but all right. I respect it.
Hey,
Twitter
algorithm. Go back a long way, all the way back to Metamorphosis.
How you doing, Brennan? Well, no. Before we talk about this, it's been a long journey to get this show. There was a pilot they attempted to make back in 2014 with Greta Gerwig that failed. I sent it to these guys earlier. I have a copy of it. I don't know if they got a chance to watch it or not, or even listen to it.
Bro, I sped through it and I was like, I'm good. I saw it and I was like, I just heard a little bit of it and I was like, no, I'm good.
No, but and it was originally going to be on Fox. It didn't get picked up for series, so everyone kind of thought, oh, we're never going to see this again. Lo and behold, early last year, Hillary Duff, off of losing Lizzie McGuire's revival, is now the lead in
Didn't lose it.
Father.
She left.
Well, she lost it because she left.
This is now a power play. This is like a Ewing theory.
And it's the same company technically anyways, because it's Hulu, who's Disney technically, and it's this whole thing. But yeah, but it's a year later, we're here, and honestly, I really dug the living hell out of these first two episodes.
No, I'm totally with you. My expectations were they weren't low, they weren't high. It's just one of those things I just don't suck.
You're like
that's all I really want. It's don't suck.
I'm gonna give you a chance. Just don't shit in my hand and tell me it's chocolate.
Yeah, and I guess we start here. I was surprised how it's damn near a carbon copy in terms of how it looks. The way the show is shot, the way the edits are with the present day and the present day and in our present day in 2022, right? It felt so familiar and nostalgic, and I liked that for sure. But I will say this too: I fell in love with the characters almost immediately, and that's I think that's what's gonna make me continue to watch the show going forward. Is because in 2 episodes I'm already I know all their names, I know their backstories, and I know which one's my favorite. I'll just say this now: Charlie's my favorite right now.
Oh, what a shock!
That dude is hilarious. So yeah, man, I really dug it. I'm really happy with it.
See, I when I sent my tweet out this morning, I was like, it's like revisiting an old friend. They may have changed a little bit, but I was right back into how I felt whenever I watch How I Met Your Mother live, and that's what made me happy. I dug Sophie. Actually getting to see, and towards the end of the episode, we realized why. Actually getting to see the narrator and not the child threw me off for a second. I'm like, oh, and then I love, but Kim Cattrall, she's like, the kid asked, how much wine have you drank? And enough to tell you the flirty parts, and I was like, oh yeah, that kid's reaction is exactly how I would feel in that situation.
Yeah, I like the flip, right? And
Yeah.
it adds to it because you don't know what he looks like. So it's not giving away anything. And we
Exactly.
do know, like towards the end of that first episode, that
She met the father.
she met the father that night.
And it's one of those four.
And it's one of those four, we assume, right? And I think the show's trying to like steer us in the direction of Jesse. Like it's very much Ted and Robin, right, in the very first episode. But I think there's going to be some twists and turns, in the future. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, definitely Jesse's the father after 2 episodes. It could be anyone. And there also a lot happened that night. I'm sure it, just like How I Met Your Mother, we're going to see different points of view of that night. And there could be other men that pop in and out, right? So it's not necessarily going to be one of those 4. So it can go anywhere. And I really like that.
It could be Samoa Momoa.
It could, yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And they tried to do that thing where it's like, and that's not I Met Your Father, and they show each character like right on camera, and I think they're trying to trick us. I don't necessarily think it's going to be one of those 4, but we'll see.
And you want to know what? So everyone, when this show got announced, like, oh, who's going to be our Barney? Who's going to be our Marsh? Who's going to be our
they're
Lois?
all in everyone, and I love it.
Yeah, they're all different.
Smell it in like individual, like every character's got a little bit of all of them.
Exactly.
Like they all watch the show.
Charlie is probably the most Barney we're gonna get with a character, but that's just because he's just this lovable goofball who's a fish out of water. Like I don't expect him to be suiting up. Like he is wearing suits and nice clothes so far a lot of the time. Yeah, but I don't expect him to be suiting up and trying to bang everything that walks.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of Barney.
Yeah. He's got Adrian from Secret Life of the American Teenager. My boy is good.
For now.
Oh, like okay, duh. Like obviously, it's a TV show. Besides like the pseudo Lily and Marshall splitting, and we don't get Lily as she's already gone off to art school,
right? And
she'll eventually come back. And then I was sitting there on the couch like, oh, Ian feels like a good season 4 comeback story.
Oh,
yep, that is exactly. I was like, that's the Victoria here.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, for sure.
I can already see it. Like I already see it. Like Sophie's gonna be in this relationship. It's gonna be great, happy, wonderful. And then Ian's gonna show up like knocking on the door. Like I'm back.
Okay. So it's gonna go early prediction like this. It's gonna go terrible dates for another 2 episodes until at the end of one of the episodes she meets Josh Peck, because we know Josh Peck's in the show. So then Josh Peck will be around and probably through the season, and then at the end of the season, her and Jesse will hook up, and then they'll be together, and they'll be like, "Oh wait, Ian came back."
See, I would normally agree to that, but here's the issue: this isn't going to be like How I Met Your Mother, where we get 22 episodes. There's 10. And we've gotten 2 of them.
Oh,
there is. Yeah, this
is a toy 10. Oh, I like
this. This is a toy 10. This is the ranch, buddy.
And this is also streaming, so we don't know how many seasons
like
this
part
thing
1
could be.
Because I've been watching some shit on Netflix. It's like, I watch it, and then it's like
this is
a month and a half later. 10 more episodes are coming. Like Gossip Girl did that.
This is season 1. They said this is the full season 1. Is this 10? And I mean, I know they're using the soundstage setup that they use for Mandalorian, so it's probably going to be plus it's a sitcom, so you have the set sitting there, so it's going to be easier to pump out these 10 episodes quick as all hell.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten here yet, but the apartment we have.
I was trying to wait for that.
Me and Colin were talking about this before we hopped on. Like I audibly
saw the number
gasped.
4.
I saw the 4. I'm like, that's odd. And then I heard we got it from he's opening the door because they just keep it on one corner for a minute. You're like, could it be?
But it's the same shot. Yeah, it's the same shot they've all piled into before. And I was like,
could it be? No, it can't. It can't.
You son of a bitch.
Like, yeah, we got it from this old couple off the Wesleyan Facebook. I was like, oh,
yeah. And then the swords is what got me. I was like, oh, like, I the little tear. I was like, we're home.
Yo, I had a traumatizing moment though when they were painting that they like had taken the swords off of the wall, but then I realized they were in the bar.
Yeah.
Like, thank God! Yeah. Oh, thank God, they're not painting the apartment.
Like so many memories in that apartment. Like I'm like, oh, that's where that happened. That's where that happened.
You see the back walls fixed now too. There's no.
Like the roof, I'm sure the roof is gonna eventually be a thing. Maybe they all make the jump together. Like there's so many like possibilities of what they can do as tiebacks and callbacks and stuff. And I don't just want that. I don't just want the nostalgia. I want to grow with these new characters and like
The fuck happened
fall
to
in
the
love with
bar?
them. But
Yeah.
Did the bar just like not?
I would say the bar. I would assume the bar's still running. It's like
Right.
But they're living
downstairs.
above it, and he owns another bar. Like
Yeah.
that's just like really like I get it.
I mean,
it
he
would
could-
have been weird
but
if
because-
he ended up
well,
owning the bar beneath.
I was
the
just about to
apartment
say,
that they
we do know the bar became a family business from that epilogue
Oh,
episode
that's
of all
right.
this.
Oh,
Oh,
you
that's right,
right.
that's right,
You
that's
right.
So that's why I'm like, okay, hi Ferris, love you too, Ferris. I know why you're here. But we do know that Carl's son ends up taking over the bar. It becomes a family business, and that's why he couldn't realistically own McLaren's.
Right.
Mhm.
Which only the deepest Him fans would even remember that. So I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the finale. I rewatch the show every year. Like at least I try.
Same.
And I haven't
every year.
rewatched it since like early last year, so I haven't watched the finale in a minute. So it's I was.
That's-
me
it's
and
not the
Colin were
finale.
talking,
It's,
hard to remember.
So it's the episode before the wedding.
Yes, Ferris. This
Yes.
is a good show. It's
Especially
very-
if you love How I Met Your Mother.
yeah. If you enjoy just the vibe,
It's
of
a good
people-
start. It's a good
Yeah.
start. I can't say good show yet, but we only got 2 episodes. and
I
if we're
will
going
say
based off
this:
2 episodes-
you have to do something and establish a place of comfort. There was something about the booth. There was something about the couch at the coffee shop in Friends, right? There's something about Sid's bar that
we need
is
to discover.
that it's extremely comforting.
Yeah.
And like the moment where Sid looks at the employee and he goes,
Jasper, we got a regular.
He's got his
Yeah.
usual. Look at us, Liddy, and he's like going back, like he's got his like Gen Zer in the background. I love it. It's hilarious.
Ferris, I'm
Ferris,
going to tell
okay.
you.
No, not
That's
everyone's
interesting.
perfect.
That is a show. It is
I'd love to
9
know if he
seasons.
watched it, if he'd
Yeah.
enjoyed it without having ever seen.
Yeah,
How
I would
It
say watch the first 2 episodes. If you like it enough, check out Him. I think Him's first
Just
couple
say hi,
episodes
Maggie
are
Mother.
better.
People don't know what you're saying. I barely know what you're saying. When you say it.
I've never heard it
Yeah.
be
I've
called
never
him
heard anyone call it
before.
Him.
Bro,
It's like-
I've always
Sounds
heard
like you're like, can I get the Him Yim ramen with sriracha and boiled egg, please?
Oh man,
But, I mean, there were just so many moments to me that like immediately called back to just the vibe of like when they're on the bridge, I was like, oh, look at the lighting. Oh,
Yes.
it's the same shit. Like it's like they got like the same crew, and we're just like, hey, did you guys see how they did that? Or like, no, you guys did this. Go do it. Or they got a new crew, and they were like, hey, you guys see that shit? Go remake that.
Well, Ferris, do I
that's-
like it? I own the entire series right here. It's one of the few.
Well,
few
Matt, that
shows
does
I
not
own.
mean you necessarily like this show, but you do.
I think he was asking about Him, but I do like the show so far. I enjoyed the show. What's up, Buck?
Buck's going to be chilling on this channel for the next few hours. He's waiting for the upcoming slaughter
Oh,
of
the
the
Arizona Cardinals.
This man messages me today and is like, "Feel free to go off on the Cardinals tonight." And I was like, "Oh, with that, I would be happy to do that for you."
But no, I agree with you. I like How Much Mother.
100%, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about that before, and honestly, I think it's just there's such a bigger conversation there with like people not wanting to end things that they love and
Mhm.
how hard it is to do that. Like you look
And
at
how hard it is to make people happy with an ending.
100%. And one thing I think kind of signifies that more than most on television, obviously Game of Thrones, very a bit controversial when it comes to how the last season went. And there's just so much even in movies. Like I think of the Hunger Games. Like I really enjoyed the first 2 Hunger Games, and then they were like, no, you got to do 3. And she was like, what? Like,
Mhm.
you got to do 3 books, and you got to cram all that stuff into one thing, and it's just tough. And when you got like we were talking about before, like Jason Segel not wanting to come back, You got everybody have like spiking contracts after 7 seasons of a show.
Neil Patrick Harris was the most paid one out of all of them, and he could do whatever he
was.
wanted.
If it kept going, he was going to get to he was going to get to friggin' Charlie Sheen numbers at some point.
I was just about to say he was the Jim Parsons, Charlie Sheen contract of that show.
And he wasn't even the main character.
Exactly.
But because of his contract demands, he then became a more centralized storyline character as opposed to like a B.5 to a C storyline character per episode. He was dabbling into A stuff, which then I don't know if we could say that made the show worse.
I wouldn't say it's less funny, Jeremy. It's the first couple episodes, so you got to give a show a few episodes to find its legs.
It's more modern humor.
I will say.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. There were a couple of jokes that did not exactly land with me. I saw some comments on like Twitter and stuff today talking about how it felt like a 50-year-old writing 30-year-old, jokes about like Tinder and the Liddy stuff, like with the new bartender, right? I don't necessarily agree with all of that, but there were a few jokes that didn't quite land for me. But like you said, it's just 2 episodes.
Yeah, the Jane Fonda crushing dick one. I was like, I don't find.
I thought that was funny. You didn't like that? Oh, I enjoyed that immensely.
I was just like, do we really need to talk about Jane Fonda?
No, but the problem was like that's what she said. She was like, I really don't need you. It would be different if she was like, yeah, I'm really down with that Jane Fonda, crushing dick vibe. She was like, do we really need that? Like, no, I don't think we do. So at least Sophie was with you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like the performances because I think there is so much pressure, and I'm going to say something outlandish, but in terms of sitcoms, has this been done before? Like, I mean, Frasier's different because Frasier truly is the only like carryover successful from another sitcom and actually sustained itself. Joey,
that was more of a spin-off, but this one is actually
which had a character. This is a true like.
There's only one.
I would call this a spiritual sequel.
I can only think of one other show that's done it semi-successfully, and this is going to sound weird. Boy Meets World to Girl Meets World.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay.
That's
I
fair.
had that in the back of my head that was going to be like a different audience, but they even kind of like lowered the age of their audience for that show, where
which
this
pissed
show
me off. I
raised the age.
Yes,
and I think that was helpful to at least have it on Hulu, and it really worked to a point where these guys have so much pressure on them that I don't think actors on TV have really faced before. And Matt, to like not to down your point, but Courtney and Topanga are in that show.
Yeah.
So like there is carryover from the original show
and Sean is in it, and Eric's in it on occasion.
Exactly. So that there's nothing in this show so far besides a fucking apartment. So it feels like the first 45 minutes of The Force Awakens is kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
I think the pressure is on them, like the TV version of Star Wars Episode 7 to carry the weight. And I think they did a really, really good job. And I don't think like Sophie might not be the best character yet, but she has so much room to grow. And I think this is so much better now than being a female-led show than a male show. Even if it was reversed, I don't think How I Met Your Father would have done well in 2003. Yeah. I think it's meant for right now, and it's going to be.
And Toby mentioned earlier his favorite character is Charlie. For me, right now, my favorite character is Jesse, played by Christopher Lowell. You want to know what's funny? When I saw his face, I'm like, why does his face look familiar?
Oh, he's from Veronica Mars.
No, that's not why. I never watched Veronica Mars.
Oh, okay.
He's the one who killed Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman.
Oh shit!
So I was like, wait a minute, what? But like, just seeing, especially with nowadays, he's how most people our age feel right now. Of, oh, my parents have been divorced, Tinder's a bust. I thought I found my person, and they were like, nah, I'm gonna try to go live my dreams out real quick, and I'm now the internet.
He was humiliated on the internet,
right? Exactly. And now I'm the internet guy. And it's
Yeah, it's like Jesse already had his like Ted being left at the altar moment. Like
yes,
he's given up, and now of course in the first two
Which is
episodes
an
they're trying to
interesting
ship
place
with
to
Sophie,
leave
but
the like male lead and like have him start his journey as like us being watchers of him and like knowing who Ted was before that moment, who Ted was after that moment, knowing the lessons that he learned from that. I loved how the show didn't let Sophie be his rebound and have him like try too hard, because if he would have said some other words at the jukebox, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if Drops to Jupiter would have played 5 minutes earlier, they would have been kicking Charlie and what's her name, Jessica?
Yeah, it's Jessica. Yeah, the roommate's Jessica.
They would have kicked out Charlie and Jessica out of the storage closet. Like Drops to Jupiter drops. There's more things dropping in the back.
I got to give props to Hillary Duff real quick, because and the character, how they've already written Sophie, because her and Jesse had this moment where he's like, oh, you probably had the married parents and the white picket, you probably grew up with that. And Sophie is already the anti-Ted. Ted grew up with that, and then everything kind of fell apart when he was already in his adult life. Mm-hmm. And that's when his perception started to change. You find out her mom's a party girl. Everything in her life has basically told her there's no the one. But here she is, still believing in that. And I thought that was a very interesting layer to add to this character.
I really like that point, and I didn't think about that originally, how Ted's whole thing is the one. Like, he's looking for the one, right? And she, like you just said, she has no reason to look for the one, but she still has that belief in her that she's going to find it. And I love, too, how when Jesse approaches her about that, like, oh, yeah, your parents are still together, and, and she's like, yeah, something like that. She could have easily in that moment just been like, no, actually, like, my parents are divorced, and I don't believe in love. I shouldn't believe in love, but I still do. Like, she could have went off, but she's like, nah, it's not like that. She didn't need to go into it in that moment. And that told a lot about her character, like not trying to be, trying to gain sympathy points from him. You know what I mean?
She's basically in that point of, you know what?
Let him judge. Fuck.
What?
Sid is Pi from Life of Pi.
You didn't realize that?
So just added 10 more points. 100 out of 100. 100 out of 100. Adrian from Secret Life of American Teenager and Pi from Life of Pi and Hillary Duff. Guys, we're in for a treat. Please don't cancel this show. It has bad reviews on IMDb. Please don't cancel this show.
And here's my thing. As I think the social media has been a little bit kinder to it, it seems like.
Which is what counts.
Yeah. And as long as those numbers are there, social media continues to be kind to it, we should be fine.
I just wish Hulu didn't suck ass, like, as an app. Like, it's bad. It's so bad.
He
turned it on
in regards of promotion.
The way the user interface is, like, I turned it on just half an hour ago before we started, just to, like, watch the beginning of it again. It's not even on the front page of the app. I had to scroll all the way down to the bottom.
It goes away after you watch it. So that Netflix is the same way. If you watch what they're promoting first thing that day, it's the front.
So it disappears after. Like, that's dumb. That's
look.
I don't like that.
Never been kissed is what's being.
Yeah, it says never been kissed with the.
Why does the app suck so bad? Like, it's been around just about the same time as Netflix.
It doesn't suck as much as HBO Max does.
Like, get your shit together, Hulu.
The Hulu really excels with the live TV.
Yeah,
that's where the app slaps. It feels like they restrict you guys with the non-live TV stuff.
So I feel like we have to have this conversation because of when this takes place, and obviously the apartment might be a main setting for the show. Who do we think one of our old friends is going to come back to the show? Like, who do we think is going to show up?
Realistically, the two I have in my head are Carl the bartender and Barney, because if I remember timeline-wise, Barney's daughter was born in the mid-2020s, so you still got a chance for them to maybe to get ideas for his bar. We see Sid go down to McLaren's and get the vibe of it and everything, and then we get to see Carl that way, and maybe Wendy the waitress if she's still there, even though I know she married that one guy, and they had their moment with Ted at the airport. But Barney just in the background trying to maybe pick up either Sophie or Valentina, because at this point we know he's still out there banging banging around.
I was gonna say, like, doesn't he try to do like a perfect month and he succeeds? Yep. Like, what if one of either it's Valentina or Sophie is one of those one in the month of him trying to bang 30 girls in a row or whatever? That could be interesting.
I always had a theory that if you watch the pilot for the original version of this, okay, so Barney's actually already had the perfect month. Barney went for the perfect month in 2019.
Oh, rats, just missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to rewatch How I Met Your Mother now. Like, it's time for my rewatch, even though the show just started.
I normally start rewatching it in like January, February, so I'm right there with you.
Like the depressing months of the year. Like, I need something to make me happy. Like,
yeah.
But
I mean, what year did Ted and Tracy get married?
Was it 20? That's one thing, that the last 3 episodes of the show, everything blends together in my head, and so much happens.
Could we see Ted? Could we see a funeral for Tracy at the bar occur? Because they get married in 2020.
Stop! Quit trying to break me.
No, I think that's too sad, and our new characters don't have any connection to Ted or Tracy. So it would have the characters, our old friends, would need to come in. And it need to make sense for the story. Like, I think Lily and Marshall could pop in.
They could. Tracy doesn't have to die yet because she doesn't die until 2024. So could we get Ted and Tracy at the bar hanging out at McLaren's?
Maybe. I don't know if they because I've heard his actor, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Josh Radnor.
I've heard him talk about doing a reunion show, and he's just like, move on. The show's over. Like, I'm not really interested in doing that. They'd have to throw a lot of money at him for him to do it, maybe.
See, I think there's a difference between here. We just want you to pop in for one scene in a guest episode, just as Ted. And he's at that age where he probably doesn't need the makeup now to a certain degree. He just gets to be himself.
Yeah, maybe. But I would say that the chances are very, very high of seeing one of them show up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think I'd put all my chips on Barney. That just makes the most sense in context of when the story takes place. And then probably Lily and Marshall, and then Robin, and then Ted. I think we have a really slim chance.
Robin, I don't think we'll see, because 1, she's super busy. 2, we know she's worldwide traveling for work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. She doesn't really settle down until really, really later on when Ted finally decides to ask her out in the end.
Barney, the only reason I'm unsure about it is because we know he has his kid now. The kid is a toddler at this point, and we saw that complete personality shift.
Right.
So, unless Barney's just has his kid for the day and is like, "Let's go. Let me show you my history." But again, this isn't a show about Barney, so I don't think that would work out realistically.
I really hope that they don't rely too much on nostalgia. I think they did that in the first 2 episodes to get people hooked, but I really hope they start to go in just completely wild directions and take some chances and, try to make an identity of their own. Like
the club episode being the second episode. That was like episode 5 or 6 of the original first season, which I was like, all right. I'm like, but otherwise, nostalgia-wise, all we got was the apartment. I was proud of them. They were like, we're going to try to stand on our own 2 feet right away. And we're going to rely off of the vibe and feel of this show to remind you, like, this is the same feel. We know you like this feel. And keep going.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think mostly the nostalgia for me was just how it's, again, like how it's shot, how it's edited, right? Like, it feels very, very, very familiar to the original show. And they're probably going to continue that. But like I said, I hope they go in wild directions and get really crazy with this. And make it
I
more
know
interesting that
when
way.
this was first announced, Nick and I's biggest fear is that it wouldn't be the multi-cam sitcom, because when you hear Hulu's doing something, you don't expect it to be a sitcom. You expect it to be single cam, just, you know what I mean. But
yeah,
it's nice to at least have that feel. It's like the same color palette too. I was like, oh yes, this is everything I want it to be right now, and I'm here for it.
yeah. I just hope it does well, man. I hope people watch it. I hope people support it. Because I want to see this thing for the long haul. Like I'm not thinking it's gonna go freaking 9-10 seasons, but
Just give me four or 5
seasons, 5 seasons. Like I would be really cool with that. I haven't had a show like this to watch in a long time. Like everything for me now is freaking Star Wars, Marvel, right? Like action heavy stuff.
So.
Like I'm happy
I
to
got
have
some
this back in my
sci-fi if you
life.
need it. I got some high sci-fi.
No, I have a backlog of freaking stuff I need to watch, and this, because it's so connected to my favorite show of all time, it's shot all the way up to the top. Like I'm gonna watch this every Tuesday.
So,
hopefully, we can maybe do reviews every week. That'd be fun. But
yeah, so Pamela Fryman is an executive producer on it, and so is Carter Thomas and Craig Thomas and Carter Bays, which is all I need to know. Like, I think they might have brought back the same composer. I'm checking that right now.
Yeah, I saw Bays tweeting about it today, which made me really happy because I didn't remember while I was watching it if they were a part of it, and I'm glad that they are because, I mean, some of the best writers in TV, I think, and I'm surprised I haven't really gone on to do anything else because the way that they structure the original show is so brilliant to me. Like, there's so many episodes, like specifically Barney, when he runs the marathon, the way that there's so many jumps and everything just kind of culminates to get, like, it's brilliant television. And I hope they get weird with this new show as well.
Yeah. Excellent. So the main 3 who ran the show are heavily involved. Yes.
And Hillary Duff's a producer too.
She wanted that producer credit after, once again, the whole Lizzie McGuire debacle where Disney screwed the pooch on that one and just wouldn't listen to her. I wanted that adult Lizzie McGuire show so bad.
I mean, a lot of people did. But I think this is a good, kind of second thing for her,
Yeah, happy medium.
It fits perfectly. I think she's the perfect type of actress to be in a show like this because she has all of that experience. And I was reading an article today where they were interviewing the cast, and they just could not have higher things to say about Hillary Duff, her professionalism, her kindness. Like, she brought so much experience to the show because a lot of these, these new actors and actresses, I mean, they've been in stuff, but nothing like this, nothing on this scale. And she was able to kind of, help them learn the ropes very quickly and make them comfortable. And you could see it in their performance because everyone did a great job. Right. And I'm really excited, to see what they decide, to do going forward, because they all have their own identities and already in 2 episodes.
So I will say this, my biggest complaint I had in regards to nostalgia is trying to use a new version of the old song. No.
Yeah, that surprised me too. Like, the show, as soon as it starts, I'm like, oh, the OG song is back. Wow.
But it's in a new, like, I'm like, this is different style, and not wasn't vibing with it. Colin, you okay there, bud?
Yeah, I'm fine. I like it.
You just got quiet. I'm not used to it. I'm like, why isn't
I maybe started working a little bit. It's fine.
He's multitasking.
But no,
importing footage.
Oh, that's all. You're like, I'm importing footage. Let's make sure this doesn't crash anything while I'm in the middle of doing this. I'm just gonna be quiet and I hope. Fair enough. I've been there, my friend. But no, it's enjoyable. 2 episodes in. I wish FOMO was a real bar.
Right.
I'd be like, guys are going to New York.
Club in all of New York. Then let me introduce you to FOMO, where they have a candle room, hula hoop room, and a retro candy bar.
Don't forget the topless room, and the topless room.
Topless room, topless room.
That felt so much like a How I Met Your Mother joke. Like that felt very.
And when she's getting kicked out, no photos in FOMO.
Yeah.
FOMO Soho, you can take photos. FOMO NoHo, no photos. You gotta go, yo. I was like,
yeah, that was good. That was good. Like, I hope we see again. How I Met Your Mother has so many reoccurring characters from moments like that. I hope we see that guy again, like at a random spot. That would be fun.
You guys think we're gonna see Ian again? I think he's gonna be like.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
we're gonna see
yeah.
Ian spread throughout it.
I think he's gonna be like prevalent.
I bet like middle again, depending on how long the show goes. I bet like middle of season 2 would make sense. Like she's gonna be in an established relationship, and then Ian's
Oh
gonna
no,
show
I
up
think
and
he's
wreck
like.
everything.
I think he's gonna be hanging around this season. Unfortunately, I'm like coming back around. Like
At the end of the season,
yeah,
there's a
here's
lot
a
of
good review.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who are like, it just does what How I Met Your Mother did. Yeah, what did you expect it to do? Like it's stale. Every comedy's got to find their legs at first. It happens all the time with sitcoms. Like people aren't gonna like every sitcom right away. And granted, we only got 2 episodes of it. I know that I just felt like I was in high school again, watching something that made me feel at my happiest those Monday nights.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I don't know if this show is necessarily for people who aren't fans of the original show. I feel like this is for us.
Yes.
And I'm glad we have it. And I hope more people, decide to give it a chance, in the future. But if you've never watched the original show and you watch the show and don't like it, like, I mean, I get it. How many sitcoms like this have there been? Like, there's been so many of them. And I can understand if you're kind of tired of that. But for the diehards like us, man, like I'm really happy to have it, and I hope it succeeds because I want to see more.
Yeah, let's check back in like 3 episodes and see how.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That's a mid-season recap. There we go.
Mid-season
fun.
recap. Let's catch up in a month, see where we're at, see how we're feeling it, and let's see who's still together.
I like that idea.
How many Regis Philbin perfect New York burgers you guys give this episode?
I'm getting the 2 episodes 3.5 out of 5. I think is where I'm leaning. I'm somewhere between 3 and 5.
7 burgers is a lot. I can understand you bringing it down to 3.5. That's a lot of burgers.
Out of 5.
Buck gives it 3 burgers. Solid 3 burgers.
3 burgers. I'll give it 4 burgers, but I took a bite out of the 4th burger, so it's actually like 3.75 out of 5 burgers.
Colin hates you because
Me and Colin do this all the time.
I was literally going to I'm gonna have like 3 full burgers and then like take a bite out of the 4th, and here comes friggin' Toby. Like,
but
you can catch us both, or all 3 of us, potentially on Saber Reels tomorrow.
I will be there tomorrow.
Okay, me and Colin will be doing this exact thing tomorrow, breaking down Boba Fett.
But before we talk about tomorrow,
also
in just about 15 minutes,
I will not stand for the slander of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that has occurred this week on the internet. But you can find me and Suge Knight in the next 20 minutes right back here on this channel as we break down the wildest wild card weekend that had wild moments, and your dealer dealing you a 2, a 3, a 5, and a 4. Super, super amazingly boring weekend in some regards.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
Navjot, to answer your question, yes, I do really like Colby Smulders and the character Robin Schabotsky.
Yes. We love it.
And then if you haven't watched it yet already, I did a pre-recorded real talk with myself and Jeff Alterman. We talked about Scream, the SAG Awards, and quick Bel Air trailer thoughts to close it off. So be sure to check that out.
How did I not have this Funko
next to you? I am so disappointed.
Yeah. I have all 3 behind me. Like they're like right there. Like right there.
See it.
I have all 3 of them.
This is how we end it.
I don't know how we haven't gotten more.
Everybody.
How have we not gotten more pops? Like there's so many ideas. Like how I don't understand.
Ducky Tie Barney.
Yes, that should be a chase. Like give
Barney in
print
the
money,
Stormtrooper costume.
Yes,
that's a fucking Funko. Just put a Stormtrooper costume.
Ted with the red boots.
Yes,
for sure. Robin in the bikini shirt.
Yes,
that one.
Ted in
talking to Barney in the Fortress of Barnitude with the
yes, that could be like a movie moment.
And then Marshall, but it's just the iPad.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yes.
Marshmallow.
So it would
Marshmallow,
kinda be like a
yes,
Wally. It would be like a
marshmallow.
supersized Wally, but you take the Wally head off and you'd replace it with an iPad. But
Yes.
then it would just be a picture of a Funko like on the iPad, so it would look really weird. They wouldn't put Jason Segel. I don't know. I'm backtracking.
Yes. Original cast is classic. What's another? Oh,
Uh,
Marshall with the cut up suit pants on. He's got
oh
the-
yes. Or
Or just-
Ted with the goggles and the earmuffs because he's trying not to
Yes.
see Super Bowl spoilers.
5 different moments, and it's all the slaps givings.
Yes.
Yes.
I would collect that.
Yes.
And it's all the slaps.
Come on, Funko. Like we've thrown out 15 ideas
Free
in like
ideas.
2
And
minutes.
And if 3 people would buy it on the internet, 1 million people would
Ted
buy
with
it.
Ted holding up the yellow umbrella, and then you do a partner one with it of Tracy holding up the yellow umbrella. Come
Yes.
on.
Yes. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Oh, Barney, Weekend at Barney's.
Yeah.
Weekend at Barney's. Yes, absolutely. Man, so many.
Thank you, Linus. That's a deep one.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not as many Lilies. I can't think of a lot of Lily. Like,
Well,
she
let's
has a
see.
different haircut every.
I was just
season.
about to say.
No, you would have doppelgangers.
patch-
What the fuck?
eye
The
patch
doppelgangers.
You'd
yes,
have doppelganger
chases.
Lily. Yeah,
Yes,
you have the whole
yes,
doppelganger line.
yes.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Eye patch Lily from the first episode after she gets hit in the eye with the cork from the bottle.
Yes.
You got to have a moment of
You're
just
giving
all-
Funko enough free ideas, Matt. They have
I
to
know.
charge us.
Oh, wait, let me finish it. You have to have a moment of them all sitting in the booth at McLaren's.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that would just be so huge. Though
Like, come on.
Would it though? If you could do it.
it would be like a floor because they all don't fit at the bar. Like
Well, no.
somebody's always got a chair pulled up.
Well, no, here. Well, that's my point. So you get 2 right here, 2 on each side, and then one at the end, and then you have a little bar with Carl standing. behind.
Yeah, they did it with the Avengers at Shawarma. They
Shawarma.
could
True,
easily
but it
do
was
it.
all like different pieces, so they'd have to release like.
Hey,
different-
That's
you
what
know
I
what?
mean. Yeah.
Give me a fifth of a table for each of them and put them together.
I'll spend
do
$50 on that.
But yeah, guys, this was our quick thoughts on the first 2 episodes of How I Met Your Father. Feel free to check out anything else we do on this channel. Like we covered it already. Colin will be on Real Sports in just like 10-15 minutes. We have Saber Reels tomorrow, which we'll have the thumbnail at some point tomorrow afternoon or morning for. And yeah, we got so much going on here. Like, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff over here at Watt Real Entertainment. And we'll see you next time. Peace.